Cathedral, and now it's here in Leicester Cathedral. And in welcoming you this evening, I want to particularly welcome a number of people. You will hear later from Arabella and hear more about this work of art. But at the outset, I particularly wanted to welcome those of you who are asylum seekers and refugees here amongst us in Leicester. You are our principal guests this evening, and it's your lives and your stories that matter much to us and to our community and indeed to our world. And that, above all, is why we are here this evening. Of course, we would only be here if we managed to work in partnership across our city and county, and so many of our partners will say a word or two this evening, from Artsreach, from De Montfort University, from Leicester University, and from other partners here in the city and county. When we do things like this, one of the things that often happens to my inbox and letters come into my desk, I get letters to say, "Dear Mr. Dean, why on earth are you putting that in your cathedral when your cathedral is meant to simply be a place of prayer and worship?" And don't worry, I always have an answer. I'm sure. But I have a very clear answer this evening, which goes something like this. Jesus Christ, who lived 2,000 years ago, was part of a family who lived at a time of huge upheaval in the political realities of the Middle East. And because of the work of tyrants, his family, and with him a babe in arms, had to flee into exile as refugees. So right in the DNA of my faith as a Christian is the experience of being displaced and being vulnerable. And that experience of displacement and being vulnerable has not stopped 2,000 years ago, but goes on today. More than 65 million people across the world displaced. That's more than the population of the United Kingdom. But big numbers like that, I don't know about you, but they don't register very much. Seeing the shoe of a child has made me cry 3 times so far, because it reminds me that this is not just abstract numbers, but real people. And at a time such as this, we are called to become more compassionate. And so our hope and prayer in working with Arabella and our partners in bringing this here is that compassion is going to be let loose like wildfire all around the place, so that there is greater generosity and greater attraction drawn to this story, and more pressure put on our politicians and leaders, so that some of the inequity and the injustice that goes on in this story is brought to light, and we do something to change it. We won't be able to change it all, but we will be able to change some of it. And so I'm really grateful to Karen Rooms, my colleague, who above all has led this project and enabled it to happen and brought a lot of people together to make it happen. So I'm grateful to Arabella, I'm grateful to the refugees and asylum seekers, I'm grateful to our partners, I'm grateful to Karen, and I'm grateful that my hard heart is being cracked open today. So, I can't help it but preach, I'm really sorry. It's just in my DNA as well. So I'm going to ask David Hill to come and speak from Artsreach and one of our key partners in this evening.
Many thanks, David. It's great to be here, and we are so pleased at Artreach to be partnering with Leicester Cathedral and with other key stakeholders in helping to realise this powerful, moving and humbling installation from Arabella Dorman to be here. And also thrilled that we've been able, alongside this, to work with the Cathedral to develop an events program that will accompany Suspended all the way through the next couple of months, right into our Journeys Festival International, which happens here in Leicester from the 17th to the 26th of August. If you're not aware of Journeys Festival, it's a festival that we developed here in Leicester in 2013. It's been here each year, and it's about supporting, celebrating, promoting refugee artists and asylum seeker artists, and sharing refugee experiences through great art. I'll tell you a little bit more about the programme and how it links with Suspended in a moment, and I also want to say some thanks as well as David. But I also wanted to read you something that I think is really pertinent to this powerful installation. One of the Artreach team, Alex, who works a lot with refugees and asylum seekers here in Leicester, felt that in talking with people, it would be good to share how they would like to be understood as refugees, if you like, what their definition of being a refugee is. And I'd like to read you that. We left our homes knowing there is no place like home. We are people who felt death's breath upon the back of our necks as we fled our countries to look for safety, freedom, and a sweet future for our children. There was war, persecutions, natural disaster. Some of us were trafficked here, modern slavery they call it, and some of us never had a passport. We are the citizens of no country, the stateless ones. We left our homes knowing there was no place like home, and arrived here in the hope of making this place home. We saw the new people smiling at us, but we also heard the voices of others, reminding us over and over again, you don't belong here, refugees. There are provocations, abuse, bullying. We are those that some of you told to go back to their country. What country? Death is waiting there. We escaped to find a peaceful piece of land, yet we feel constantly scared, in danger. And there is that big moving shadow over us, hanging over us, the Home Office. We don't choose our accommodation. We are forced into places that you would walk away from before the night comes. They moved us from Birmingham to London to Sheffield to Leicester without asking us. And without explanations, we were taken into detention centres. We saw the England that is not England. We hope you never see that England, friends. We left our homes knowing there is no place like home, and found ourselves walking the new streets, watching from outside people celebrating in restaurants, enjoying our cuisine. Yet we feast on charity meals that taste of metal, cans of baked beans. Sometimes we dream ancient dreams, times of no countries or nationalities, no borders. We left our homes knowing there was no place like home. And what was impossible to leave behind, we brought with us. Our music, our languages, our cuisine, our skills, the way we like to dance and celebrate. Journeys Festival was a little break from our problems, and it is about the beauty we brought with us. It is about us, the refugees. Very powerful piece there, and I would like to thank everybody who contributed to that, which I think we will be sharing widely over the next few months. So Suspended is here until 26th of August. Journeys Festival International will happen from the 17th to 26th. Over the next couple of months, there are programs of associated creative workshops, music performances, conversations, which are all described in this little booklet, which I hope you'll all take away with you. And there's a postcard about the festival. When the festival happens, there'll be events at New Walk Museum, Jubilee Square, where we will have a full weekender on the 25th and 26th of August, with live music, outdoor theatre, and a special welcome procession that will involve refugees alongside people from the local community, working together, integrating, expressing a sense of welcome, which I hope is something that people will feel very proud of. I'd particularly like to highlight one music performance that will be happening here in the cathedral Friday the 24th of August, when Haymanok Tesfa, Ethiopian artist, will be working Mubidu from Burundi, and that will be a really special event. So do come along to that one. And just a few thanks. So thank you especially to Arabella Dorman for creating this powerful, moving, emotive piece that I'm sure is going to have a high impact on a lot of people. to the Cathedral for offering an iconic location. David's already mentioned key members of his team who've done so much to drive this and enable this to happen. Thank Mohammed, who's going to be performing for you later on, and to members of the Outreach team in particular, to Maddie, to Simon, Gary, Ollie, Angela, who've been particularly contributing to enabling this to happen, to promoting and delivering the events programme as we go along. Thank you all very much.